Private prison companies throughout the country profit billions by incarcerating our family members and loved ones. So we have a choice. Do we just sit back and continue to let this happen? Or do we fight back because we know just how wrong this is?
Rosa Parks was a freedom fighter. She taught us how to fight. And we're gonna fight all day and night until we get it right. Which side are you on, my till we get it right? What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're protesting against Geo Group over here, second largest private prison provider in the country, incarcerating millions of our people for profit. We're here to make sure they know we don't want them in our backyard.
Supporters of private prisons state that they operate more efficiently and safely than public prisons, and that they cost less to taxpayers. The truth about private prisons is that they're 10% costlier than public prisons, and the violence against guards and inmates is far greater.
There is an industry here in America that wants to lock you up for as long as it can. The more people it can warehouse in cages, the more money it makes. And which private prison company made $1.7 billion last year alone?
CCA, or Corrections Corporation of America, is the largest for-profit prison operator in the United States and currently has around 90,000 privatized prison beds in around 20 states.
The ethical question of profit for imprisonment is compounded when it results in even harsher sentences for drug possession offenses and increased enforcement of immigration policies. Private prisons have profited from policies that have resulted in more people being incarcerated for drug offenses, from just under 41,000 in 1980 to nearly 470,000 today, and drug offense sentences have nearly tripled.
How can a nation that purports to be a democracy tolerate having the largest incarcerated population in the world?
Why do we have a system in which so many persons are in prison?
Why did this mass incarceration overwhelmingly affect African Americans?
In prison, the racial disparity is flipped when compared to the U.S. population, putting into question why does the diversity in prison not reflect the diversity of the population as a whole? In the U.S. population, nearly 75% are white, but in prison, that number is about 30%, whereas African Americans and Latinos go from about 12 to 15% to, in prison, nearly 50 and 20% respectively. As one can see from this chart, the racial disparity in private prisons is even greater. In Arizona, people of color in private prisons is approximately 3% higher than those in public prisons. To further illustrate the racial disparity, keep in mind that black men are 6 times more likely to be incarcerated than white men, and among Hispanics, the rate is 2.3 times more. Out of every 100,000 white men, 457 are incarcerated, but among black men, that number grows to more than 2,600. I'm calling upon you and others to a call to action and join the movement against this unethical and Jim Crow racist practice of private prisons. There's millions of dollars of lobbying and campaign money that we have to overcome that's spent by private prison companies. We can do it through the power of the people. How do we do it? We organize, politicize, and mobilize. To organize, speak to your family and neighbors, raise public awareness, and get connected to those groups already fighting the good fight against private prisons. This movement seeks to change policy, so contact your legislators, contact the governor, tell them that we will no longer stand for the funding of private prisons. But your call won't do it alone. That's why we mobilize and get together en masse to remind those elected officials that they need our votes much more so than they need campaign contributions from the private prison industry. Now that you're going to join the movement in the fight against private prisons, I strongly encourage you to contact any of these worthwhile organizations and get involved.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.